This is Richard back at you. Today we got Ruben's '06 Dodge in the house, 5.9 diesel, 48 RE transmission, ready to get tore apart. We already got the tranny out. We have our Insta Clean, guys. We've got this thing hooked up and going. Isn't this thing beautiful? And believe me, it works just as good as it looks. The quality that's into this machine is unbelievable. The welds, I mean, everything about this machine, guys. If you ever purchased one of these and you brought it in your shop, you would have a halo over your head like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you'd be so excited, and just like we are. It's nice and quiet. I mean, you barely can tell that it even runs. I mean, really quiet. Beautiful machine. We got it broke in. Got all the fresh soap in it like they told us to do our first bath to kind of, I guess, cure the metal or however they want it done. You know, we've done it exactly the way they told us to do, but isn't that a beautiful piece of equipment? Unbelievable. Well,
I'm not getting in it either.
And Teresa's not going to get in it. But we've got a lot of show going on. ATS, got all of our pans in, got our Sonex shafts in. We got everything to do this transmission right here. It's going to be a really beautiful, good job when we get done. So, Ruben, your tranny is going to be the first one in the washer. So, we're excited to do that too. So, let's get this thing apart. I'm not sure what it was doing when it come in. I don't think it had any codes or anything like that in it. The fluid looked really bad. It just had a stock torque converter in it. You can see the old hub.
It doesn't want to come out of first gear.
Had a lot of wear on the hub. I mean, purple. Just. So I'm really not for sure going on here. Almost looked like the bushing started cutting it through there. So we're going to put a billet flywheel on this thing. Triple disc converter, Sonex input shaft, Transgo kits, all the Sonex stuff we can put in here too. So it's going to get the works. So we're going to take off the linkage first. Now this does have a TV motor. Instead of having a cable coming down to the transmission to make the TV linkage work and stuff, it's got a motor that turns. You give it gas, the motor turns. You let off the gas, the motor turns back. That way there ain't no cable. Now these things have a problem after a certain period of time of getting them out of park. We'll repair that problem that they have inside on the valve body. They also have a lot of wear issues on the neutral safety switch rooster cone part and on the valve body too that operates this. Now you can see here we have fluid leaking out of our neutral safety switch. We do not have fluid coming out in the connector yet, but it'll still get a new wiring harness and solenoid pack inside. So my hands are a little dirty. I'm going to pick our electronics up. I don't want to have to clean it again, but you can kind of see here, late model in your new connector and stuff like that. That's just a common issue that they have, leaking out of the connector, and you just want to replace them. So now we're going to get our output speed sensor out of here. Takes a 1-inch wrench to get it out. You can see here we got a little bit of metal stuck to it. You always want to wipe these off and clean them up really good, because they're kind of transparent. You can see through them, and if they're full of fluid, you'll be able to see it inside. So you always want to check for that. We're going to take our overdrive housing off. Now this is going to get a deep pan. Okay, we got all them out. And anytime you put your bolts back in, you always want to put some sealer on your threads and on the bolt to seal it back in, because these bolts actually down here on the bottom go inside the tranny cavity. So you definitely want to seal them back. Even though you got a new gasket here, it doesn't matter. Kill our little drain here real quick. Now we have our overdrive housing here. Find my little stand here. Now you can see here where this little round O-ring or snap ring sets in here like this. All that is just to hold the clutches in when you set it down on top to assemble it. That's it. There's no other reason for it. Okay. Now when your overdrive clutches are stacked up, they're going to be level with this, or a tad low, just like you see it. Normally level. When the clutches are brand new, it'll be level. Now when you take this apart and you get your direct clutch apart here, you see how this is level right here? When you put your new clutches in there, it's probably going to be a little bit different. It's probably going to be either lower or a little bit taller. So. And then you can get your overdrive clutches and steels out of here. Come over here, Teresa, so you can see. You see in there? Now your backing plate right here that goes against the snap rings is the thick one. You never want to put a steel against the snap rings. If not, it'll just bend it. It's got to have the force of the outer fingers to keep it from bending in the thickness, because it sets right down here on these snap rings right here. See? You set that in there just like that. Now if you put the metal plate down in there, and it'll go, it'll stack up perfect where that sets up just perfect. But if you stick one of these down in there, it's going to just bend it all the way up in here, and it's going to smash it against this drum down in here. So you don't want to do that. This thing's got a smell to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
And then, of course, you have your bevel snap ring that's going to come out first. You're going to have your flat snap ring coming out second. I've never tried to put them in backwards, so I don't know. If you've ever done it, you'll be the first to find out. I'm sure it's already been done once, or twice even, but the flat one goes first, bevel goes second. Always take your openings and move them. Keep them away from each other. Your ends of your snap ring, always put them under the land. Don't put them in an opening where they'll break off. Put them under here. So. And I like to kind of come in here and take a small hammer and tap on this bracket right here just a little bit. Just kind of shock it like that. If not, sometimes you'll break this Torx bit off. Sometimes these are in there pretty good, and if you just hit it a little bit with a hammer, it'll break it loose. It's a bevel washer, so it can get stuck in there. And these Torx bits are pretty weak, even though they're a high quality name brand Torx socket. So. You want to look down in here for snap ring wear. You can kind of see it already down in there a little bit.
Yep.
Let me get my little scribe and point it out right there. You can see that snap ring where it's wearing right down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just, I'm waiting for them to come in. We just ordered a case of case savers for these. Actually, we got a builder sent me one. Actually, it was Man, I don't want to think of his name. I'd have to look on my phone again, but I got his card over there. But he sent them to me to try it out, a case saver that sets in the back so we can start using these cases over. If they're not cracked, we can use it. So. I say you can come here and grab this snap ring and just pull it out and look at it, because they have problems about wearing on both sides too. You got to look at them. You can barely see that wear right there. See, so, and then when you get in here, then you can really see the wear. It's got a lot of grease on that thing. There you go. Let me change it up to my other one. I think this one's charged. A little brighter. But now you can see down in here where that snap ring's wore. You can see it better that way even. So, but anyway, we'll get that case saver in here, and where we can save this case again. We threw so many of them away before they come out with that, it's unreal. This bearing right here too, you always want to check it really good. It doesn't have a preload just rolling, but the preload's always pushing backwards. So you always want to check that. They say the preload is always pushing that back. Clean it up, push it that way. If you feel anything, any type of movement, these bearings are always nice and tight. There's no slack in them or anything like that. So let me put that back on, because I'm going to have to use it to take my overdrive section apart. Okay, we'll take this apart real quick, Teresa. Everybody wants me to see this take apart. I don't do a lot of them. Actually. Hey, we're old school, guys. If you got one of these, you can do it. Now we're going to release the snap ring for the direct clutch, and we're going to release the stainless wire ring that holds the spring inside the clutch housing. So I cut a hole in this bracket here so we can just snout it locked down in there. That way it can't jump out at me. Makes it a lot safer. When you take this loose and you're looking at it square in the eye like this, it's kind of scary. Come on.
This takes a while to get it there.
Yeah, this jack's getting old too. Plus I'm stretching it a little farther than normal. Okay guys, we had a little episode with the camera, not enough storage, so we deleted a bunch of storage in there and got a little bit more room. So we'll kind of go back over this a little bit. We started out pulling the wire snap ring out, I believe, when it stopped over there.
Yeah. And
then we had our bevel, our wavy snap ring here, and then our stainless ring. This is the groove that the ring physically goes in. You can see it there. Now, also, this is what we call our bearing backing plate kit. You can see it has no wear there, and then you see the tons of wear right here. So we replace every one of these. You can see what a new one looks like with no wear. So, also on your Sun Gear here, we replace every one of our Sun Gears and our forward Sun Gear and stuff too. So, but this is the Overdrive Sun Gear. They made two different versions of this. They changed the angle of the gear. This gear here is stood up the most on the 48 REs. But you can come in here and look. If you look really close, you can see a lot of pitting on those gears. Can you see all that pitting? Now this gear here isn't as hard as the small gear here on the Planet, but you can see here's a new one. They do make two versions of this. Like I said, this one here, the gear stood up more. It sets right down in the Planet like that. The earlier version will not go in there. They make a different Planet for it. Like I said, the bearing backing plate comes with a new bearing there. You can see it here. And this is your Overdrive Planet. Like I said, you can go in here and just make sure all your gears don't wobble too much in play. Check your pins for any coloring. Look for any pitting on the gears. Just because you have pitting on your Sun Gear don't mean your gears are bad, because these gears are 10 times harder than that Sun Gear. So just take a look at every tooth on every gear. If it looks fine, put a new Sun Gear in it and send her down the road. Because like I said, just because you got wear here doesn't mean you're going to have wear on the Sun Gear. So, give you an idea, this kind of sets on here like this. We have a snap ring that goes on there. Your big spring sets here. This sets down in here like that. Compress it, put your stainless ring in. So, pretty simple. Give us a little bit of room here. Now this is our lower roller clutch here. You can see I knocked the roller out of it. Grab that spring, slide it back in there. Now, this will go on either direction. Did you just see that? Spring pushing roller downhill. You always want to put the springs pushing the roller uphill. If you always do that, spring pushing roller uphill. See that? If you do that every time, you're going to be fine. And you have your bearing. You have your racing here. You want to Scotch-Brite up really good. Look at your ring gear for any type of wear on either sides of the gears. You also want to look in here for any wear. Where this snap ring goes, sets down in this groove right here. You want to look for any type of wear up here on the top land, up through here. Now this is a better version. It's got real wide spaces here. Some of them have little tiny ones. And those are the ones we see most of the wear. So, take that totally apart and clean it, because that thing there holds a lot of fine metal. There's so many snap ring grooves in there that you have to clean it by hand. We don't throw nothing in the parts washer except our cases. Everything else is done by hand. So, now we're going to get our overdrive piston out here. Now when you get your kit, you take your kit, get all your seals out and stuff like that. There's two seals in your kit that look just like this. One has a long end on it, one has a short. The short goes to your overdrive piston. If you put the short or the long here and the short in your forward drum that goes in here, you're going to be in trouble. So just remember, the short lip, overdrive piston, the long lip, your forward drum. Now we're going to get our rear case support bolts out here. These are 3/8 bolts. Now also, this is that selective spacer right here on your intermediate shaft. They come blue, they come yellow, they come clear, or not clear, but no paint on them at all. So this is selective when you start adjusting your clearances and stuff like that. So also on your overdrive piston, this here is selective. So it sets here. This here is selective too. So there's a lot of places to set clearances on this unit right here. I have our intermediate band adjustment here. This will be an 1 7/8 adjustment. You tie it all, screw it all the way in, about 10-inch pound. Screw it back out 1 7/8, two turns in somewhere in there. I don't like to do the tightest. I like to probably put it about 2 myself. But the adjustment in the book says 1 7/8. You can see the pan here, doesn't look too bad. I don't know how long it's been serviced. You see a lot of growth on the magnet though. A lot of growth on the magnet. Now we are going to be, this is a factory style filter. Now we'll be going back with an earlier style filter. Man, this thing's got like an additive in it. You can smell that in there.
Yeah, it's strong.
That's strong. Now here we have our governor pressure sensor here and our governor pressure solenoid. Now these control upshifts. You'll see if you had a scanner to it, when if you took off, you'd be going down the road. This sensor will go 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour, 3 mile an hour. It should physically match your speedometer. Now once you get up to 4th gear, then it won't match your speedometer no more. It goes to a lot higher range, like 104, 120, something like that. Now you notice here we have short bolts, 4 long bolts, and 3 short ones. Your long ones go around your governor stuff, your pillow and stuff here. Your short ones go here. Now this is your guide bolt, and this here's your guide bolt. You notice this here's an oblong hole. So, but if you get down in there, it's single-sided. Depending on what side that is what valve body. You know, if you're doing a A500, the early style, this valve body will go on there, bolt right on, but you can't get that bolt hole in there because the oblong hole's on the other side. So that kind of keeps you from putting the wrong valve body on these. Some of us.
Yeah.
We do a lot of playing, so. Now we'll get over here and take this valve body apart real quick. It's got a lot of additive in this. I'm starting to smell it now. I see band wear and stuff over here that we're going to be seeing. So now you can see here, this is what controls our neutral safety switch. That's on the outside of the tranny, the black little box. If you can see here, the wear that it's got down through there. Kind of open this new one up right here, and you can see there's no wear. So if your lights are messing up in your dash, your park reverse neutral lights and stuff like that, or if it's hanging in gears, you're trying to move your shifter, it's hanging, that's because this is worn down so much it's hanging on these pins. Okay, so we fixed a lot of problems with this tranny, not being able to take it out of park, stuff like that. They have a lot of issues. And we'll get our 4th gear accumulator spring out real quick. Now our shift kit's going to come with a 3-stage spring. And we put a transco kit in these. This is a single spring. The other one will have 3. 2 others on the inside. Now these rings are different sizes here too. Anytime you put a Teflon ring on, you want to make dang sure there's no gap. And you want to make sure that they overlap properly, because they'll overlap 2 different ways. If I can get that out of there. Yeah, I can't get out of there to show you. Let me get this rag to grab it. There we go. you can see here how that overlays like that. If you put it like that, you're in trouble, and you can force it in the groove. So, but it does overlap like that, and they do have two different sizes because this end is smaller than this end. So. Get our feed tube off here. Unlock our governor pressure sensor lock. Push on the little retainer here to unlock it. Same way here. Pick this up. You can unlock that just like that. Now our Transgo kit's going to come with a metal plate that'll go under this gasket. We'll put new solenoids on here. Sensor, solenoid, gasket, then the new Transgo plate, and we'll bolt it back down on there. Now, this here's your overdrive and lockup solenoids and your wiring harness. It's made as one unit. So we get that off here. So we'll be replacing it. Screws are longer. You got to be careful on taking screws out of these things because some are short and some are long, and there's a reason for it. So. All these screws right through here are going to be the same length. This one here is going to be a shorter one. And then this one's going to be a longer one. I'm going to pull this off here. This is your overdrive and your lockup valve body. You got to clean it really well. Make sure these 3 holes aren't plugged. Another one down in here. Little tiny needle holes. Now our shift kit will come with options here. Our Transgo kit will, to do some modification there. And we have a check ball here. A little tiny one. Don't want to lose it. Throw it in there. And then your Transgo kit will also come with a new plate. You'll be doing some modifications to it. You'll be drilling your 3rd gear feed orifice holes out. You notice this one's big and this one's small is because they let a ton come through here and they restrict it here. So if I want my 3rd gear to shift firmer, I'm going to come over here and enlarge this hole right here because it's an over circuit. It comes over like this. So your new kit plate, you'll have to drill both holes out. Now you notice how we have short bolts? We have long bolts. So the long bolts always go to a pressure, really high pressure point. You notice here there's just short ones here. That's just basically mounting it to the body. Not a whole lot of pressure through there. But you'll see normally we have a ton of wear here. Now if we had a metal check ball here, this plate would be beat to death. But since we have a neoprene ball here, the plate still looks brand new. Now if you come over here and look at the metal check ball they put in your forward, your plate's beat to death. So your Transgo kit will come with a new plate. You can put metal balls back in here. I don't know if they upgraded the plate in strength or not. I've never asked them that question. But you can always come back and put rubber balls or torque. I can't remember what they call that rubber. Somebody's told me like 10 times. Neoprene or something. But also you see they're here. Now your shift kit's going to come with a little thing that goes in here. That's a little torpedo looking thing. I'm not sure what they call it. But you can take that ball right there out and put it in your plate here. put it here. Now you got rubber all the way through, so that way you don't have to hunt one down. Lost my squeegee, Teresa. Oh, there it is. Thought I lost that thing. This thing's been one of the best things somebody sent me. Look at it, it's still in perfect shape. I mean, this thing's been put through the ringer. Kind of like my walkie tools. I've been putting them through the ringer, and they just keep on going. No mercy on them, believe me. I buy them to work them. I don't buy them to look at them. Now we're going to get over here. Now we had our last training we tore down. Somebody's been in and put the bolts in the wrong place. Now this one here should be a short, and it is. This one here should be a long, and it is. Now when we tore it apart before, they had the long over here, they had the short here, and it pulled the threads out here because your pressure regulator spring is right here trying to push that plate off all the time. So that's why they put that long bolt there to get a lot of depth in here where it can't pull that plate off. So.
Yeah, we actually found it in the van.
Yeah. So your Transgo kit could come with a new spring here to change if you want later shifts. The factory one is an orange. The aftermarket, I believe, is a green. You just have to look in your instructions. It'll have it all in there. Now we are going to put a Sonex lube valve in here. This is what this looks like. We're going to make this tranny lube in park and in neutral. No more than you start it up, it's going to start pumping fluid through the tranny, fill it, keep the converter full, put oil on your washers, everything instantly right off the bat. And if you see here, we have a hole here, a hole here. We have a cap right here, and we have a ball and a spring here. We have line pressure here that opens it, jumps it over out of this hole into the loop circuit, and lubricates everything. So, works really nice, guys. We've been playing with that valve a little bit with the Transgo kit too, and it's really nice. Now we have our switching valve here. Now we are going to come in here and grind a land on this right here. I'll go do it real quick so you can kind of see. Don't take 5 seconds. Put my glasses on. Come over here and see what we did. Not all the way through, just a little piece like that, and you put that back in. Now if you take your tranny apart and you have holes drilled in here for a modification for a non-triple disc converter, you're going to have to plug these holes back. You do not want to modify this area of any form with a triple disc converter. That thing's going to come on so hard you're not going to want it to come on. Now we are also going to be putting a Sonex manual valve in here and getting rid of the factory valve here. Everybody says, Richard, you're getting new parts all dirty. But yeah, I clean everything up. Now, this is our new manual valve here. You can identify it by the hole in the end and then the hole in the center. But you put them two in as a kit, you really updated your tranny a ton, guys. Sonex done a really good job with this stuff right there. So I've been talking to Randy over there, and I'm telling you, he's a really intelligent guy. Okay, we got our intermediate accumulator here. We don't see any issues with the plastic piston. We don't really see them breaking or anything like that. Your kit will come with a different spring here. And we have our band anchor here for our second gear. Now the aftermarket does make a thicker one here with a little bit of metal on this, makes it where it can't bend in the middle. If you crank the pressure up on these, you could have some issues. I really don't see it much at all, so I'm going to go ahead and knock this seal out, the shifter shaft seal. See here. Now you can see here too where I was talking about how your park reverse switch right here wears. See that little nub right there? This is that plastic thing again. This runs on that like that and pushes this in and out. So you get that little ball rubbing on here. Just you'd think it'd wear it out within a couple of days, but I guess that plastic's some really hard stuff. You got your reverse band adjustment here. This is you take this jam nut loose, tighten this down to about 10 inch-pounds, back this off 3 turns, tighten it back down. Pretty simple. Now this is a double wrap band. It isn't a single wrap. If you notice here, this is what we call a single wrap band. This is a reverse band for a Dodge. We'll get that double wrap one out real quick and show you what it looks like. Now this is a 48 RE, a true 48 RE. Hasn't been messed with. So it ought to have all the good stuff. But we're just going to make it better. Now we do have the factory converter. We're going to be putting a billet triple disc converter in this thing. We're going to get rid of the lugs off the torque converter. We're going to go to a flat back. Let me get over here and I'll kind of give them an idea what this one looks like. You can see this has a flat back on it right here. We're going to get rid of these lugs off here. We're going to go to a triple disc. And then our converter has to be non-stepped. If you got a step in here and you put a ring on your stator, you're in trouble. But if you come over here, you can see this ring right here. This ring is for a non-stepped converter. If you put that ring on there with a stepped converter, that ring's going to come off, the pump's going to eat it. So that's not something you want to do. Always double seal your bolts, even though you put a new washer on there. Always torque the pump stator bolts. Ain't strong, huh?
Yeah.
This thing is
Almost
strong.
makes me dizzy.
That's what I was thinking to say. You can alcohol, ether, I don't know what smell it is. It's coming off here. Look at your stator really good. See a little bit of bluing off of it, but really no wear. Just a little bit of bluing. Look down in here where your lockup rings are. New bushing. Check here for your forward ring. Now your shift kit will come with a new ring there. It won't be metal, it'll be a Teflon ring. We'll look at your pump gears. They always wear right there. You can kind of see that little shadow right there where it's starting to wear. And we'll put new pump gears in all of them. So and look at your pump body, especially here. Check that right there, no wear, looks good. You're gonna be putting a new dimpled pump bushing in there. It's your vent, comes out here. Now if we were doing a 4-wheel drive that's gonna be underwater and stuff like that, we'll plug that hole right there. Then we'll come in and put a plug or a vent on the top of the case like that one right there. He can run that line all the way up to the brake booster and not get water in the tranny. So. Now we're going to look at our intermediate band. This is where the problem probably occurred. You can see there's just nothing left of it. So we're going to put a lot better band in there. We're going to look at our third gear clutch. Starting to see a little age here. Starting to see some chattering on the steels. The farther out it gets, the worse they get. It's kind of weird. You'd think that they'd burn together the same, but it seems like it just gets hotter the farther out it goes. So, your shift kit will come with 2 rings, 2 seals in here too. Let me show you real quick. I always put the thick land seal in it, but the kit does come with a short land and a put your springs back the way they go. You can see 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2. You're going to come in here and you're going to Scotch-Brite all this right through here where the seal runs. You're going to come in here and take this seal off this drum right here. I'm going to wipe my hands off real quick, and I'm going to grab these 2 seals to show you what's in this kit. That way you don't get mixed up. What they did is, I believe they did this because some of the drums were cut deep. And that's the only reason I can see. If you look here, this drum had a narrow ring in it. And here's a wide one, a wide seal. Narrow, wide. I never used the narrow. You can take and put this wide one right in that groove. Just like that. Fits perfect. Now if you come in here and look how much of that seal is sticking out the grab now. Perfect. Come in here and Scotch-Brite this. Make it look nice and pretty. It don't take much of Scotch-Briting. You can take and just put it in a bit like this. Kind of Scotch-Brite that up a little bit like that. And you're going to clean everything. But look at that. It looks brand new again. Just Scotch-Brite your friend. So that's a must. Also, when you drive this, put this new bushing in here, you want to check this. If you put that bushing too far down in there, you messed up. If you don't put it down in there far enough, you messed up. What I like to do, have your thrust washer here, get it down in here and get that bushing where it sets a little bit lower than this right here. Because if you put it too far, it'll rub right here. So you gotta be careful. So, Scotch-Brite all in here where your new Solenoids are gonna run. A lot of Scotch-Brite.
Because he's your friend.
Yes, ma'am. He's been my friend for many years. And okay, we have our forward ring here, our lockup rings here. The factory rings here are okay. Your new shift kit comes with a Teflon ring that goes here. This is just a steel ring. It's not a stainless ring or anything. It's just a piece of just nothing. It breaks easy. Everything about it's bad. If they had put a stainless ring there, it would have been good, but they just never did. Now this washer here is selective too. And then we have our forward clutch. Now they do make an early and a late model clutch. These teeth are really fine here. They make a clutch. Your early design forward clutch, the teeth are like this. And what they had to change this piece here too. But that's how they did it. So we have 4 clutches in here. You can tell, started working on them pretty good too. We're going to get in here and have another wavy snap ring. We're going to have a plastic ring here. Now they do make metal ones of these. It's hard to find. If you can find one, you can use it, but the plastic I don't see any issues with. They do make better ones of these too. I'll look see if I see one laying around. I don't see one right now, but they do make one that's actually better than this. It's a little bit stronger. If you turn your valve body pressure up too much, you can bend this. You can put in gear, boom, you're done, right off the bat. You're gonna pull it right out instantly. So there's a fine line on how much pressure you can turn this tranny up, so you gotta be really careful. Now here's that other seal I was talking about that has the long lip seal, and the other one had the short. See how that's long? This is short. Believe it or not, you can stick that in there. You don't think you can, but I can. It ain't going good today, but I'm telling you, you can put that in there. So, now, we are going to be going with a Sonex shaft here on this one too. We got a really nice Sonex shaft here that we're going to be putting back in it. This is pretty much all we use is Sonex input shafts. I mean, there's one over there. I got like 3 more in the other room. So, one piece. This one here, the shaft is splined into it. You can tell just the that baby will ring a dinner bell. Let me tell you, that's some nice metal right there. This one here will put you to sleep.
Kind of a dud.
Yeah, kind of a dud. Okay, that's our forward drum, our high gear drum. We're going to get down here and get to our selective 3-tab washer here. Now this is selective. There's 3 different thicknesses of this thing to move it around too. Got the stainless washer here. And we have our 6 pinion planets. We'll just go straight to the bottom first. Because I always go for washer wear and stuff like that, because that's what you're going to see in this unit here is washer wear. There's such a load on these. You can see here where it's just trying to force the washer through the planet. See the wear on here. You want to look still on your gears here on both sides for any purpling of the pins. You can see the wear on this washer here, the chattering marks of it, just the chattering. I think this is a lot of fluid breakdown stuff here. Just not keeping good fluid in it, keeping it serviced, stuff like that. So you really want to do that on these things. I mean, you can see a new washer. But you can just tell it looks like lubrication breakdown probably. Now the Sonex pressure lube valve we're putting in here is going to dump a ton of oil in this, so there shouldn't be any type of starvation. It's going to be flooded with even more. Same way here with this washer. You can just see the load on it. Really heavy load. You can come in and look at this one. So, I mean, it's just, if Chrysler would have roller bearing this, somebody told me they did. They're supposed to send me a link to it, but I haven't seen it yet. Now, there is a plastic washer or spacer that goes in here. This doesn't have a bushing to keep this from rubbing. Normally, they use the gears, but they did put that in there. Keeps them apart. So, pretty simple. Our ring gear. You want to look here for any type of wear on either side. Like I said, there's a lot of load on this tranny here on taking off. So, same way with our sun gear. You want to look on both sides of your gear here and on this side here. Now they do make this is a wide sun gear, so they make a wide ring gear or a wide shell, so we have a wide sun gear gland here. The earlier design, they had a narrow shell, had a narrow groove here. So the thickness of the shell is what makes the thickness of this, because it has to go through it, and there's a snap ring on this side, and there's a snap ring on this side. So, pretty simple there. Hopefully I can get this out again. Last time I had problems. Actually, I already got it out. The new kit we got will have a brass washer here. You want to look for any type of wear in here. Your lube oil comes back in through here. If you got any converter failure or a ton of metal, this is where it's going to hit right here. Your outer sprag race, or excuse me, your inner sprag race. Your reverse band runs here. Looks really good. We have your double wrap band compared to a single wrap band. You can see the difference in the two. So, and then we're going to get our sprag assembly down here and look at it. It's a roller clutch. We're going to get our support out. Now your kit will come with 2 gaskets. It'll come with a gasket for this only, and then your outer gasket. It won't be a one piece like this. And then our new support, it comes physical with an O-ring right in here to seal the pressure in here where it doesn't leak out, stuff like that. So really nice piece here. Okay guys, one last thing, anytime you go to push this pin out right here, if it's stuck in there and you grab it and you take your finger and you take and try to shove that out, you see that land right there? And that thing, those two lands are sharper than a razor blade. You'll cut both sides of your finger trying to shove that pin out if that pin is stuck in there. 90% of the time it falls out, and you don't have to worry about it, but I'm telling you, I've done it. And I guarantee you there's other builders out there that's done it too and went, ooh, that's smart. So we're gonna get our intermediate accumulator out real quick. Try to not splash Teresa, or accumulator, excuse me, intermediate servo. I was trying not to smash Teresa and wasn't thinking. Or splash Teresa. I'm still not thinking.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. Now your shift kit will come with a Teflon ring here and here, but they will leave the metal ring on the cap. So they do make different ratios of levers. They make a 3.8, 4.0, 5.0. Here I've been talking to some people. The 5.0 is not the one to be running. The 4.8 and the 3.8 are the ones. So, and then we have our reverse servo here. Now, since we're running a double wrap band, this servo is a lot smaller than if it was a single wrap. If it's a single wrap, this thing is twice as big. So pretty nasty. Not too bad, just another Dodge day, it seems like. We've been doing Dodges like crazy. I think we've done like 4 or 5 this week, it seems like. Got more to go. Teresa, thank you for operating the camera. You did a very good job today. Annie's in there sleeping, and I'm tired already, and it's just
And that smell.
1:30, and I think that smell has really gotten to us. So y'all don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more. We got a lot more show to come, guys.